Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan, Napoleon Bonaparte. The end of the four great conquerors. Imagine a man who wept because conquering 2 million square miles was not enough for him. The glory hunter, Alexander the Great, cared only for one thing: conquering the world. He threw his army into battle without fear for defeat, as if he was immortal, and why wouldn't he think that? The man was on a victory spree for 10 years. His men were tired and wanted to return home so they could enjoy the luxuries they had won, but their king cared for no riches. He didn't even care much for ruling, only conquering. It was all going well for him until he hit a wall in India. Alexander lost many men while fighting Porus, his most challenging battle. He was reportedly wounded himself while his horse died in battle. He kept pushing his men, but across the river was another vast Indian army refreshed and ready while his men tired and weak. They begged Alexander to call it a day, call it a campaign, or call it an empire, but return home. And for once, Mr. Won't Listen to Anybody was forced to comply. This was the beginning of the end for him. Infamous for his drinking habit, he went overboard one night and fell seriously ill. His opportunist generals quickly gathered to see their king and asked, "Who shall his vast empire belong to after his death?" Alexander replied, "To the strongest." This triggered a war between his generals, which lasted for almost 50 years. The Macedonian Empire was broken up into pieces before it even was a thing. But anyways, it was never about Macedonia in the first place. For Alexander, it was only about Alexander. He got paralyzed and was pronounced dead by physicians. Greek historians write Alexander's body didn't decompose for 6 days after his death, which proves that the warrior king was indeed a god. However, they failed to realize he wasn't dead to begin with. Modern-day scientists believe Alexander suffered from a neurological disorder, which had put him in a coma. It is very possible that Alexander heard the plots of his men before he was buried alive. Next, we have the fanboy of Alexander, Gaius Julius Caesar. While Alexander wept because he had no more worlds to conquer, Caesar is reported to have burst into tears while he was reading the exploits of Alexander. He said to his men, "When he was of my age, he had conquered Darius, but up to now, nothing has been accomplished by me." As his ideal was Alexander, he turned out just like him, self-obsessed and narcissistic. Once he had gained significant power as a general and statesman, he undermined the Roman Republican system and declared himself dictator perpetuo, dictator in perpetuity. He wasn't shy about it either, as he is reported to have said, "If you must break the law, do it to seize power. In all other cases, observe it." Senators in Rome feared Caesar wanted to establish monarchy, which would completely erode away their authority. On March 15th, 44 BC, a group of 60 senators assassinated Caesar at the meeting of the Senate. Collectively, the group stabbed him 23 times to show how much they all loved him. The last thing Caesar saw was his own adopted son and trusted ally Marcus Brutus present among the assailants.